We are a peaceful people. Struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble. Just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one karage, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow and never break. Our fathers came here and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere. Make no mistake, 'cause we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one karage, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right. So we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one karage, not a blade of grass. So we ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one karage, not a blade of grass. We are a peaceful people. Struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble. Just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one karage, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow and never break. Our fathers came here and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere. Make no mistake, 'cause we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one karage, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right. So we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not not a blade of grass. So we ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one chorus, not a blade of grass. We are a peaceful people, struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from
Honorable members, I declare this 26th sitting of the National Assembly of the 12th Parliament of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana to be duly constituted and in session. The clerk will lead us in prayers.
Almighty God, you are here gathered together, do most humbly beseech thee to guide us in all our consultations, so that we may together build a land where knowledge is free, where the mind is without fear, and head is held high, and where words come from the depth of truth. Grant us, O God, an aid and guidance, so that we may deal justly with the several causes that come before us, laying aside all private interest, prejudices, and personal preferences, so that the result of our counsel may be to the glory of thy blessed name, the maintenance of true religion, the preservation of justice, the safety, honor, and happiness of the President, and the peace and prosperity of Guyana. Grant us, O God, the vision so to lead, that all the people of this fair land may enter into that state of brotherhood and unity, where the mind is led forward by thee, and the ever-widening thought and action.
Honorable members, please be seated.
Messages from the President. Announcements by the Speaker.
Honorable members, before we start, just a few quick announcements. Last evening, I saw someone sending to me what I consider very distasteful video concerning the Honorable Member, Mr. Ramston, coming out of our washroom. On this level of the Arthur Chung Convention Center, which I call the precincts of the National Assembly. I want to say if I see any more of these, then we're going to have to ban a lot of the picture taking along the corridors, especially up here. Second issue is yesterday I had asked the clerk to deal with the verbatim records regarding an exchange I had with Ms. Sarabo Halley. I will circulate it. But I was saying to Ms. Halley that I heard Minister Parag indicating that the Bertram Collins College building could be used as the secretariat to administer the 20,000 scholarship program. And this is what the minister said. I am happy to inform the honorable member that the location is now being used to house the 20,000 online scholarship initiative, which would commence shortly. Ms. Halley asked for clarity on the same question, the Honorable Minister said that the space would be used for online scholarships. I said no. She said the House, and I used Secretariat that would administer the program. So this will be circulated. Honorable members, Mr. Clerk.
Presentation of petitions, presentation of papers, reports, etc. Reports from committees, oral questions without notice, questions on notice, statements by ministers including policy statements, personal explanations, requests for leave to move the adjournment of the National Assembly on definite matters of urgent public importance, motions relating to the business or sittings of the National Assembly moved by a minister, introduction of bills, public business, government's business.
Honorable members, the Assembly will now resolve itself into Committee of Supply to continue the consideration of the estimates of expenditure for the year 2021. We are now in Committee of Supply. Honorable members, we will now proceed in accordance with the subcommittee schedule. The members kindly get volume 1 and turn to pages 118 and 119. As we turn to those pages, let us allow the Honorable Minister and her staff to get into position. I want to give a warm welcome to the Honorable, my good friend, Sheriff Duncan. Honorable members, we will start consideration at 10:15 and 40 seconds. I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Program 61, Program Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 61, Policy Development and Administration, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, while we get started, I just wanted to wish the Honorable MP, Mr. Deacon Sears, a happy birthday, celebrating a birthday.
I join with you in
Thank you, sir.
those greetings and the House too.
Mr. Chairman, I want to ask the Honorable Minister a few questions on this field. But recognizing as I do that this is a new ministry established by the administration, I would just want the Minister to clarify a few issues which I have, because the allocations are not very heavy. And so the assumption that I make is that some of these responsibilities are still being carried by the Office of the President. I might be wrong, but the Minister can correct me. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to go to line item 6116, in which there is an allocation of $14.8 million, and to ask the Minister whether she would be kind enough to provide us with the designation of these 7 persons, their emoluments, benefits, and duration of their contracts.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Harman and members of Parliament, you will notice that we had budgeted for 5.6 million in 2020, but we only used 1.8 million. We have budgeted 14.8 million for this year. The reason for the money not being used last year is we didn't get all our staff. We weren't able to bring all our staff on. So this year, under this program, we have the Deputy Permanent Secretary, we have the Confidential Secretary, we have an Accounts Clerk 2, Receptionist, Cleaner, Office Assistant, and Handyman. To answer the issue of the Office of the President, Mr. Harman, we run our ministry, however, the movement of the money goes through the IFMA system at the Office of the President, as I don't have a PS. So, but the budget items as here, we're run by ourselves. And we work through the Office of the President to clear our vouchers, our expenditures, and so on. Did you want the salaries or just the oh, sorry. Deputy Permanent Secretary.
I understand that.
Sorry?
I understand that that is what is happening, Honourable Minister. That certain things you'd have to run through the Office of the President for now until you get settled. So I'm just asking for these questions.
Thank you, Honorable Leader of the Opposition. Honorable
I have no
Minister.
problem with that. DPS, basic salary 364,561, duty allowance 50,000, entertainment allowance 10,000, payment for telephone, internet traveling 9,960, and the DPS came on in November 2020. The confidential secretary basic salary 160,000, duty allowance 20,000, telephone allowance 5,000, came on in October 2020. The accounts clerk 2, basic salary 72,053, duty allowance 10,000, and travel allowance 5,000. She joined in November 2020. Receptionist basic salary 70,000, duty allowance 10,000, and travel allowance 5,000. December 2020. She was brought over from the Office of the President. I stole her from the Office of the President. Cleaner, basic salary 70,000, duty allowance 10, travel allowance 5. December 2020, she joined the staff. Office assistant, basic salary 70,000, motorcycle allowance 540, November 2020. The handyman basic salary 70,000 came on in December 2020. He was brought over from the GEA, from the Guyana Energy Authority. No, Department of Energy, beg pardon. So that's for this, the persons presently in the staff at this moment under this program.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I had asked the Honourable Minister whether there are, apart from the allowances which he has actually outlined, whether there are any additional benefits that will accrue to the employees in this particular ministry that are inconsistent with what is happening in other parts of the administration. Any special kind of allowances that will be paid to these persons that will working in your ministry?
No, sir. If we work overtime, they would have refreshment or meals. If we work late and they need assistance, we would help out. But there are no special allowances or special payments whatsoever in this ministry.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Chairman, again, line 6284. I think there's a $4 million placed here, Honorable Minister. The figure might appear to be small in relation to other ministries, but having regard to the fact that there's some amount of co-location, could you, the Honorable Minister, explain what this amount is?
Yes, thank you.
Honorable Minister.
We had 3.7 in 2020. We only used 1.2. This was mainly for some of the needs of the new ministry. But under 2021, we have the rental of the video conference system from NDMA, 240,000. We're purchasing some more Venetian blinds, carpets, signs and banners, and also consultancies of 2.78 million to design a survey with regards to the challenges facing people on accessing goods and services of the government.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
So, Chairman, through you, did our minister say whether, in fact, the projection is that the ministry will remain within the Office of the President, the cartilage of the Office of the President, and therefore these expenses have to do with the ministry being co-located in the Office of the President? I just need to clarify that before I
Thank you, Mr. Harman. No, we are a separate ministry. Office of the President assists us with the processing of the funds in terms of clearance and going through the IFMA system. But we are not under the Office of the President. We are separate.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
In relation to your question of how soon, I would hope before the end of the year we would have our own PS so that we could, in accordance with the financial rules, manage a divorce from my dear friend in the Office of the President.
Thank you. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
So, Minister, might you be able to point us to a place where we can actually find a building that is outside of the cartilage of the Office of the President, where the ministry, we can actually go to meet you or staff of their ministry?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, we have been located since October in the building you use as the COVID Secretariat, sir. 105 New Garden Street, Queenstown. It's a very nice building and we like being accommodated there. So if you wish to meet with me, please, sir, you know where to find me.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Chairman, I go to line item 6255 and the allocation for maintenance of other infrastructure. And the Honorable Minister indicated to this committee what this sum of money is going to take.
Honorable Minister. 6255.
We didn't have any money last year in the budget for this, but this year we're looking at painting of the fence around the compound, interior and exterior, 900,000, and repairs for the parking pad, which you're familiar. I don't call it the parking lot, the parking pad in the ministry building, in the compound, which is in bad condition with serious, unevenness and breakage in the concrete. So that has been estimated 2.6 million.
Honorable Leader of the
Thank you.
Opposition.
I trust, Minister, that you have better security there now that there's no blockage. You have an item here, line item 6281, that is security services. And whether you'd be able to indicate to us the security firm that has been so engaged, and if they were engaged at the time when you had the breakage, what action you took.
Honorable Minister.
You're correct. We did not budget in last year for security as Office of the President was providing that. In this year, we budgeted 7.6 million, and this is with the same security firm that worked at the ministry from October last year to now. When we have to go through a new process of tendering, then we'll proceed in that direction. But at this point, we have a company called Elite Protection Services that are working there, and we are quite satisfied with their services.
Thank you, Minister.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, Minister. Mr. Chairman, line item 6231, fuel and lubricants. Having regard to fact that it's such a very small staff, could the Honorable Minister indicate what this allocation is for with respect to the size of our fleet and how we intend to utilize some that have been allocated here?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, this year we have an increase in fuel and lubricants. That's correct. Um, this is for fuel and lubricants for one SUV, one car, which we just got yesterday, which is a want of entry car from GRA, two motorcycles, one brush cutter, and one power washer.
Thank you very much. Honorable Leader of the Opposition. Thank you very much. Honorable Member Mr. Mahipal, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Sir, on the security charges 6281, may I ask what is the rate that we're paying for the security service?
I'm advised, sir, that we pay $500 an hour for working days and $750 per hour for weekends.
Honorable members, this is a good time to put the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 61, Policy Development Administration, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum now stands part of the estimates. We can turn to page 624. I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 61, Policy Development and Administration, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Chairman, line item 122000, buildings. And there's a sum here of $5 million that speaks to the provision of building or provisions for building. I'd like the Honorable Minister to elucidate on this, whether in fact you're going to have a new building or there's going to be a sum spent on the current building. But the project code speaks to something, so I'd like you to clarify this provision for building.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. The 5.9 million covers retrofitting the building to include two offices. So we're not expanding the building, we're just using the space within the building a little more efficiently, and therefore we have to break down walls and in some areas and create a new office, and then downstairs we're enclosing the garage as a new office as well. But we're not touching the architectural integrity of the building because it's one of those lovely old Queenstown buildings. And we've been guided by the Ministry of Public Works on the scope of works.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
So this is not in fact provision for a new building. It's the same building, but you're doing internal works. Thank you, please.
Honorable members. Honorable Member Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. Project code 2407300. I see an amount of 14,503,000 purchase of vehicle, and all the legend has is improved transportation. May I ask how many vehicles are we purchasing? And may I ask if the fleet currently is 4 and we're adding the amount that we're purchasing here? If I can have the total.
If the fleet currently is
4 and we're adding here.
Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, the SUV I have that I'm using is on loan to me from the Office of the President. I think Mr. Harmon knows the vehicle. And so this is a provision for me to have a new vehicle, and to return the one that I have had on loan from the Office of the President. The vehicle is not a new one that I have from Office of the President, but it is, we've had to keep it maintained, but we have to return it, and I am very grateful to the Minister of Finance to provide me with a new vehicle for my personal and office use, of course, my official use.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahiko.
Sir, may I ask the type of vehicle, and I also would like to know the fleet at the ministry, the fleet.
The fleet at the ministry, as I said earlier, is one SUV, one wanted vanity vehicle we just got yesterday, 2 motorcycles. That's our fleet. And a brush cutter and a power washer. Huh?
Sir, the type of vehicle, this one that we're going to purchase.
Mr. Chairman, as you know, I'm very clueless about cars and vehicles. It's an SUV. This is the allocation from the Ministry of Finance. We will go to tender and we will see what the tender produces and what can fit our budget and what would be a vehicle that's appropriate for off and on-road use. So we're not going in with a particular brand or anything like that. It's just an SUV.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the
Sir, Comrade Chair,
Honorable Member, Mr. Figuera.
thank you for recognizing me. Let me commend the minister for her very dapper outfit. Green really takes her complexion. Line item 122, buildings. I'm seeing $5.9 million, and the minister had indicated it is for the refurbishment of the building to facilitate 2 offices. And she said the structure of the building, the outward structure of the building. Yes, the minister said the
I think the minister didn't hear. Personally, I didn't hear the last part. I heard integrity.
it might keep cutting off, unfortunately. Yes, the minister had indicated that the integrity of the building would not be affected, but just some internal works to facilitate 2 offices. So I'm wondering if was it basically the size of these offices? Would windows be applied to these offices as well? Given the fact that is $5.9 million. So can the minister give a little more information with respect to the outlook of these 2 new offices that would be accommodated with this large amount of allocation?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Figuera, the building is an old building. It's and therefore wooden. We do have to put windows in because we're converting the garage into an office. So we have walls to put up, floor to raise, and windows to put in. We also are looking at the conversion of another part of the building into offices, which are not offices right now in terms of structural things we have to do. But we're not adding onto the building. We're not, making the building larger. We're using the space we have in that way. We have some other estimates from the Public Works Ministry, which has guided us on this, and this is why we have put this figure. If it comes in less, that would be good, and if it is going to be more, we have to make choices of what we can do. But this is the figure that's been guided. It's a Ministry of Public Works building, so we asked them to give us the scope of works, and this is what they've come up with. We had hoped to do some work on the bathrooms, the washrooms, but we're not sure if we can stretch it to include some work on the washrooms.
Thank you, Honorable Member, Mr. Christopher Jones.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Chairman, Project Code 2512-200, Furniture and Equipment. We see a significant amount of $9 million being allocated for these items. Would the Honorable Minister be kind enough perhaps to either lay over or if she wished to go through the list. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. The big ticket item in this is 7.3 million of the 9 million for the inverter and batteries for solar panels. We have installed solar panels on the building thanks to the Guyana Energy Authority, Department of Energy again, I keep getting mixed up. Department of Environment, sorry, that was closed down. So we have used, they have kindly installed the solar panels for us, and now we need to have the inverter and batteries so that we can run the solar system when we have blackouts and things like that. We would like to have a green building. I mean, not green, your green, the green, meaning environmentally friendly. But yes, so you're right. It's a big ticket item, 7.3 million. Other items include computers, UPS, office cubicles, relates to the retrofitting of the new offices. AC units, which also have to be installed in the new offices. Security camera. Do you want the figures for all that? I can give that. Computers, 420,000. UPS, 24,000. Office cubicles, 200,000. AC unit, 406,000. We have one or two AC units that are old. I think Mr. Harmon may be familiar with that, and we have to replace those. Security cameras, 160,000. PBX extension, 120,000. Laptop, this is mainly for the Parliamentary Office, our Parliamentary Affairs section, 195,000. One pressure washer, 175. Scanner, oh, yeah, that's another quote. So that's how we get to the 9 million, Mr. Jones.
Honorable members, I put the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 61, Policy Development Administration, Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum now stands part of the estimates. We can turn to pages 120 and 121. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 62, Parliamentary Affairs, current expenditure forms part of the estimates. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there is not much under this yet. So I'd ask the line item 6284, which seems to be the item with any sums of money in it. What is whether the minister can provide us with a breakdown of what is going to be done here. Of course, ministry, we all understand that there are three elements in one ministry. So you can actually have you making allocations for all three of these elements when in fact they're operating in one space. So could you provide some elucidation here, please, Honorable Minister?
Honorable Minister. Honorable Member Mr. Harmon.
In case Mr. Harmon didn't hear me. We are being transparent and we're open to questions. That's not an issue. 6284, $1.5 million. This is to cater for a consultancy to prepare a parliamentary manual for ministries and government agencies to understand the parliamentary system, to understand how bills and matters are dealt with in Parliament from the perspective of the ministries and government agencies, state boards, etc. Because what we've encountered is a lot of lack of understanding of how the processes are in Parliament. So it's slightly different than what my colleague and friend and clerk of the National Assembly is doing for parliamentary MPs. And we thought this would be a tool that could be used by the regional democratic councils, neighbor democratic councils to keep them to understand how Parliament functions. And so that 1.5 is to hire someone to assist us in preparing the manual. And we'd like to have that done and have it available before the end of the year.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahi Paul.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy that the Honorable Minister indicated that they are transparent and willing to answer any question. May I ask why are there allocations for local travel and subsistence under line item 6261? There are also expenses under line item 6221 and other line items here, but there is no staff. May I ask who will the drugs and medical supplies go to, and who are the persons that will be traveling locally and receiving subsistence?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Maipol. The reason why there is no staff, it would have to be under 6112, not contracted, because the staff only started working 2 weeks ago and therefore could not be reflected in the budget. The person will then be paid once we approve the budget in Parliament. They would then go on to our position in the office. But this is the Parliamentary Support Officer, and we are waiting all the approvals with the PSM and the Public Service Commission, the persons on the fixed establishment. They're not going to be on contract. So they would reflect in 2022 on the budget, probably under 6112, right? 6112. But right now, they're already personally in the ministry working, but we can't reflect it as they only started 2 weeks ago. So that is where a number of the issues to do with stationery that you've referred to, drugs and medical supplies, and as Mr. Harman correctly said, it's a small ministry. There's co-sharing in terms of a number of issues. The issue of other travel, this is to do with traveling for parliamentary matters, stakeholder meetings relating to parliamentary matters, including what would be airfares or boats or etc. we may have to hire, and this would include the work we have to do in outreaches. So whilst it doesn't reflect a person, we actually have a person physically on board.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahi Paul, before you continue, I just want to ask the Honorable Minister of Finance some clarification, least this answer which the Honorable Minister of Parliamentary Affairs just gave. My understanding, Honorable Minister, is that if in preparing the budget, you reflect the staffing as per your establishment at the time. And any new hiring, there's a special provision in the Ministry of Finance which you make accommodation for. Is that something that I'm misunderstanding?
Mr. Chairman, the standard practice, and it's a practice that has been in place for a number of years, is that we include in the respective ministries and their programs, we respect in their budgetary allocations amounts or financing related to persons who are in position at the time the budget is being prepared and at the salaries that are prevailing at that time. Subsequent new hires, new recruitment, and subsequent adjustments to salary, whether for reasons of promotion or otherwise, would be met from the 6141 allocation, other employment cost allocation, which is budgeted for the Ministry of Finance. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, if I understood you correctly, then yes, each ministry's budget will reflect the people who were in place at the time the budget was being prepared at the salaries that prevail at that time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Senior Minister in the Office of President with responsibility for finance, the Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol. Thank you very, very much. I think you've cleared up a lot of questions, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 62, Parliamentary Affairs, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum now stands part of the estimates. We can turn to page 624. Honorable members, I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 62, Parliamentary Affairs Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes. Chairman, there's a sum here on the line item 251-2200, which is a $900,000. But Mr. Chairman, what we are seeing here is that in one ministry, they have three separate sums. It's almost as if this total sum has been split among three for some reason, but it's the same ministry. And so while you had under the first item, that is governance, you had a sum there. Now under parliamentary affairs, you have another sum, but it's the same ministry that all of these things are doing. So could the Honourable Minister explain why it is being done in this manner?
Honorable Minister, why is it being done in this manner?
The ministry, when it was designed in September, last year, August, September, we created a ministry with three programs. One program was policy development and administration, one was parliamentary affairs, and one was governance. So there are three programs in which there are different type of activities. Volume 2 in the budget documents for both last year and this year describes the mandate of the ministry, the programs, what the programs do, and what are the targets of each of the programs, and what our targets are in 2021. So if you would turn to, if you would turn to page 70, right through to 79, it would have the descriptions there, policy development, parliamentary affairs, governance, right through to page 7. So that if there's any confusion in that, there are areas where there is overlap, obviously, but there are also areas where there are distinct features or focus, let's put it that way, in the ministry. So policy development has a number of areas to do with the issues of parliamentary affairs and the issues of the governance areas in terms of a larger area to do with stakeholders, Article 13 in terms of involvement of people, and in terms of being able to have a number of initiatives being taken under the areas that belong to the ministry. So policy development deals with the staffing, etc., of what are general admin and other issues of the ministry. Under parliamentary affairs, it describes that in terms of our responsibilities and what we're expected to do in terms of the government legislative agenda and the work of the government, and to ensure that its legislative agenda goes through Parliament efficiently and effectively. Under governance, you may be aware, sir, that this is a number of areas under governance, and these are the treaty reporting, which you know are treaty reporting on human rights issues, both at the UN and the Organization of American States, as well as the reports to the UN Convention Against Corruption and the OAS Inter-American Convention Against Corruption. So I don't deal with all the treaties, I deal specifically with treaties that are human rights and corruption. And any other questionnaires that come, including what we have to answer in the State Department, US State Department reports that we have to answer in relation to TIPS, freedom of expression, etc. It also includes under governance the areas of national stakeholders and the areas which may not be legislative, that is parliamentary, but in terms of stakeholders, in terms of policy discussions, and in representation of stakeholders, and to ensure that we're trying to deal with Article 13. Under governance as well, a number of issues to do with, for example, the human rights issues. We are required to have consultations not only with government agencies, but with civil society from time to time in preparing the reports that go to the international bodies. We also have put in some money in under governance when we come to it in relation to the consultations that would have to be held to do with constitutional reform and electoral reform to assist the Attorney General Ministry of Legal Affairs, as he will spearhead, but I would be the one helping with the NGO civil society participation in that.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Chairman, I thank the Minister for elaboration. But basically, I was just asking about furniture and equipment. And what is it that you're purchasing here? Because irrespective of what duties 7 persons have to perform, they can't sit in 3 different chairs at the same time. So I'm asking you, Honorable Minister, what is it that you're purchasing here for these 7 persons?
Honorable Minister.
Again, I go back, Honorable Member, to the fact that we're a new ministry, creating our stock base, and ensuring that we're capable of doing things, and so our work, because we did not inherit a lot of stuff. There was no ministry there before, and so what are the details? Scanner, 450,000, filing cabinets, 91,200, bookshelves, sorry, let me hold this up, 150,000, coffee table, 25,000. Digital camera, this is 250,000. This is for my secretariat and also to be used for uploading information onto the website if we're going to have photographs, etc. Filing cabinets and bookshelves, 182 and 117,600. So again, it is just trying to stock the ministry with the facilities that it needs to function properly. We have a small place, so we have to make sure we use our space effectively and efficiently.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Sarabal Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you please permit me, sir, the Honorable Minister went to great lengths just now, just a follow-up based on what she said about the parliamentary affairs, because she went through so I was just wondering whether the Chief Parliamentary Counsel is going to be coming to Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. Is there an overlap between what is happening with legal affairs and parliamentary affairs? Can you please give us some guidance on that based on what you said you're supposed to be doing on the parliamentary affairs?
Honorable Minister.
I can answer the question, but I would like it to be noted this is not a line item to do with finance. But I have no problems answering your question, Madam. The Chief Parliamentary Counsel will not be coming to the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance. We don't write law. We try to influence law or to look at what has to be amended and to try to have buy-in by different stakeholders and to assist ministries in terms of their consultations in regards to legislation they may bring. We also take the responsibility of where we feel that there should be legislative changes. We as a ministry in our own right can raise those matters in cabinet. So no, we're not taking over the Chief Parliamentary Counsel.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 62, Parliamentary Affairs, Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, we can now turn to pages 122 and 123. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 63, Governance current expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, sir. Could the Honorable Minister give us a breakdown on the items that are catered for under line item 6284?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, sir. The item $5 million is catered for consultancies and governance matters, 4.5 million, and printing of materials such as signs and banners for $500,000. This figure, Mr. Harman, will include training that we hope to do on human rights, treaty reporting, with the focal points that we're asking each ministry to create, so that we'll be able to have better responses and timely responses to prepare our reports to the international bodies. And the same for the anti-corruption conventions, so that we feel that we need to train persons within each ministry in terms of being adequately aware of the treaties and what are the requirements of Guyana in terms of reporting, and also not only reporting, sir, but follow-up. So each time a report is adopted on Guyana, we have to do follow-up, and sometimes it just gets shelved. So this is an attempt to create a tracking system and a training system under this head.
Thank you very much. Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, the Honorable Minister spoke about a consultancy for $4.5 million. Was she here to give us some clearer indication as to what this consultancy is all about, and whether in fact there will be advertisement, in fact, or there will be advertisement, local as well as international?
Honorable Minister.
We have not hired anyone, obviously, the budget is not approved, but that we are hoping that we have been in discussions with a number of international bodies such as the UN in terms of the UPR Technical Fund, and to be able to look at hiring persons or having consultancies to come in, mostly through UN bodies themselves. So there's the most, of course, equipped, and also to wherever possible to be able to train our people. Sorry, I just went blank for a minute. Sorry about that. This would therefore be with the request to the UN to have persons to come in to assist us with training. There are costs involved with this. In addition to that, it would be consultancies with helping us to prepare our treaty reports, so that we have had in the past, pre-2015, assistance from UNICEF, for example, the Rights of the Child report. We have reports on the migrant workers, which we will need assistance on. And so these are short-term consultancies to assist us. All of it will be, most of it we hope will be done electronically to cut down on the cost, so we wouldn't have to pay accommodation and other costs if they're persons from outside of Guyana.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Sherwin Holden. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahiko.
Thank you, sir. May I ask if the same answer will be provided for the staffing details and the expenditure that I'm seeing there, if it's similar to what was the question relating to the Parliamentary Affairs, where there's no staff but allocations?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, we have 3 staff under this program. They have not got their contracts yet. They have not finalized the processing of recruitment, and therefore we could not include that in the budget. But the rest of the costs are related to 3 members of staff, 2 research officers, and a special project officer.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahiko.
Sir, in 2020, there were 2 staff there, and they're no longer there, but we're having 3 new staff that will be on contract. Would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to say what will be the salary of the 3 staff and their other benefits?
Well, if we look at the budget 2020, we had 3.1, but revised budget we had 0. We had hoped to hire those persons before the end of December. We were unsuccessful, and therefore the money reverted back. So that is why you'll see the figure there, but the revised budget shows zero. So we did not use the money at all. We did not hire the staff as we projected.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. Sir, line item 6321. Subsidies and contribution to local organization. The Integrity Commission will be getting 69,242,000. May I ask the Honorable Minister if there is an Integrity Commission in place right now?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Mayapal. The Integrity Commission, that is the board, expired on February 21st, 2020. So the process of reappointing or appointing a new board has commenced, and we hope that that will be done within a short period of time. But the staff remains in the commission, and they have to be catered for with terms of salaries, etc., and allow them to function.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliament. Sorry, Honorable Member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, sir. Just a follow-up to the question posed by MP Mahipol. Is there a role for the Leader of the Opposition in appointing the board of the Integrity Commission?
Honorable Minister.
If I remember it correctly, Mr. Jones, it's that the President appoints after consultation, but it's not meaningful consultation as defined by the Constitution. So basically, he informs him, and hopefully he will agree, but if he doesn't agree, the President can continue to appoint. So it's not a constitutional body which has other issues involved, other legal requirements involved.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. Follow up. I heard the Honorable Minister indicated that the commission expired. The date of expiration sometime in February. The date of expiration for the commission is sometime in February, the 21st of February, and the process for the reconstituting of the commission has already commenced. Is it possible that the minister can say who are the persons that are currently being looked at to constitute the commission?
Unfortunately, Mr. Mayapal, that is in the prerogative of the President of this country. However, there are some consideration of different people. It's not, they're just names being suggested, and that I assume that when we reach a certain stage, the President will make his decision. But I cannot say who is being considered. That would be rather infra-dig, as this is in the President's domain. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, just one more follow-up. Thank you.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol. Then we have the Honorable Member, Mr. Figueroa.
I do hear that it is within the prerogative of the President to appoint the Integrity Commission, but can the Honorable Minister say if there is a criteria that is being looked at when selecting these people, or is it just randomly picking people out of thin air?
Mr. Mayapal, I'm sure you're aware that the Integrity Commission Act advises on the selection of the persons in terms of their integrity and their background and stuff like that, so that we can't just pick higgly-piggly anybody. It has to be persons of high integrity, because this is where all the records of all of us is kept and reviewed. These are our submissions to the Integrity Commission. At least for this side of the House, we submit. I hope in the new year that the opposition members will improve their track record of the last 30 years of not submitting, or last 25 years of not submitting the Integrity Commission reports.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Figueroa.
Follow up. In keeping with the Minister's mandate on governance and the President's One Guyana policy, would you advise or encourage consideration for the Leader of the Opposition's recommendation for commissioners to sit on that commission?
Honorable Minister.
In the realm of possibilities, sir, anything is possible.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
However, Mr. Harman knows that I'm waiting for his submission for the Local Government Commission. So I'll use that as a test run, sir. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much. Honorable members, I put a question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 63, Governance, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, can we now turn to page 624? And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 63, Governance, capital expenditure forms part of the estimates. And the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I thank the Honorable Minister for her candor in explaining that there is no integrity commission right now, and in fact it is still being considered. So the question I have, of course, is on line item 2507300. And what is it? Why are you now buying equipment for the integrity commission when there is no commission? Why are you spending $2.8 million?
Thank you, Honorable Leader of the Opposition. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I think you and all a number of the older members of Parliament would know that there have been times when there's been no integrity commission, but the law requires us still to submit our declarations and to hold those until the board is in place. So the body still has to continue. The staff still have to get paid. They still have to function. They have to secure the documents and make sure they're confidential and the tracking, so that the Integrity Commission has expanded its staff, including investigators, etc. And therefore they continue functioning with, I assume, reports that have been received last year to continue to function until the new board comes in. So I don't anticipate that this will be a long time in coming, hopefully.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Chairman, I was asking about the expenditure of furnishing equipment where there is no commission. In fact, it is not that there is no commission. There's been a commission from the time we came into office. A commission was in fact put into place. And its life expired in February of this year. So, Mr. Chairman, what I'm asking about, it's not about whether in fact there are people there, they are staff. The question I'm asking is on what basis are you determining that there's a need to purchase more furniture and equipment for the Integrity Commission, when in fact there is no body as such called the Integrity Commission, all you have is the staff.
Honorable Minister.
Maybe if I were to go through what was the list, it might help to clarify your question, sir. 1 600 watts inverter system, 1 projector with screen and stand, 2 AC units, 1 laser jet. Oh, that's wrong. Sorry about that, sir. The Integrity Commission 2.8 is a 3 fireproof storage cabinet, 1 laser jet printer, 150. The 3 fireproof storage cabinets is 1.5 million. This is to try to protect what are the paper records submitted by public officers. 2 laptops, this in the view of they're hoping to hire 1 more staff in the year, and also to when they go out and do official duties in the field and to do investigation. 2 AC units as the building needs additional units. 1 pressure washer for the cleaning of the commission, fence, guardhouse, building, vehicle, etc. And 1 5-piece dinette set for the lunchroom where the employees can eat, as they have no table to eat at this time.
Thank you,
That's a
Honorable
2.8.
Minister. Honorable members, Honorable Member Ms. Halley.
Thank you, sir. Just to follow up on the last statements made by the Honourable Minister. The Honourable Minister stated that fireproof cabinets will be bought. Honourable Minister, in the age of digitization and technology, would it not be easier if the staff just scan the documents once they came in and store them on a server so that we won't have to deal with a lot of storage matters?
Honourable Minister.
Yes, madam, both are being done. They do have a system, they have created software where the documents will be stored in a kind of cloud, or what's it called? I've forgotten the name of it now. So they have arranged that, and they've budgeted for some of the fees involved with that in their current, but they still have to keep paper records because people can challenge the authenticity. So they still need to have paper records stored, and of course, as well as the electronic. They're also moving in the direction of electronic submission of your statements. Some people in this parliament have used that already. But there are some documents that, especially those that are old documents, to keep them safe from fire.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 6, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Program 63, Governance, Capital Expenditure, now stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. The sum now stands part of the estimates. I take this opportunity on your behalf and mine to thank the Honourable Minister and our staff for taking us through this agency. Thank you very much. We now invite the Honourable Minister and the parliamentary staff, the National Assembly staff, to join us. Thank you very much. Honourable members, we can now turn to page 127, Agency 7, Parliament Office. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 7, Parliamentary Office, Program 71, National Assembly, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you for acknowledging me, Mr. Chair. Line item 6323. The sum of 1.8 is budgeted. Can I ask the Honorable Minister what was the amount requested by the Parliament Office for the 2021 budget?
You need 6322? Yeah. Yeah. So could you repeat the question, sir?
Under that line item, which you both agreed the only item,
Yes.
you have a sum 1.8 billion. I'm asking what was the sum requested by the Parliament Office and versus what is being allocated there. They would have made a budget submission. I'm asking that.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, all the agencies and all the ministries ask for money to say the ability of the government to pay. And so I am advised that the money that has been released is what has been approved by the minister in relation to the Fiscal Amendment Act and the Constitution of Guyana.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
The Speaker, following up on first, Mr. Chair, sorry, and seeking your guidance, sir, your predecessor, and I think the one before him, has made a ruling. You can confer with the clerk that the House must know when it comes to the constitutional agency what they request, right? Because versus what is allocated, and then we would say, I mean, obviously, because obviously we are examining a work plan for a constitutional agency, a lump sum. Right? So I repeat the question through you, Mr. Chair, and I ask what was requested by the Parliament.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, we have to deal with law. What law we're working under, and that's the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act as amended by this Parliament, where the requirement of the Constitution is that these agencies receive their money in a lump sum, but they're open to review by this House. It does not have anything in the previous amendment of 2015, nor this one, in the amendment of this year, it does not include the issue of the requests by the agencies and the recommendation of the Ministry of Finance. That has been removed from the Act, and therefore at this point we're operating under the amendment that is the most recent of the Fiscal Management Accountability Act.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Chair, I am not, still have not answered, but Mr. Chair, I would like a ruling from you, sir, because then you can confer with the clerk on how we arrive at the position in this Parliament. And I would like, sir, and I specifically requesting you, the Chair.
Honorable Member, you would appreciate predecessors to me had their own position. Honorable Member, you asked a question. The responsible minister to respond has responded. Thank you very much.
So, sir, for the answer, the chairman declines to make a ruling other than previous speaker.
Honorable Member, please, that's the decision of
There is law.
Honorable members,
Anything else?
I come back and I'm speaking.
Sorry.
I come back to the opening words of the Leader of the Opposition in the budget debate about the respect. So a question has been asked, and I forwarded that to the responsible minister who has answered. If there is another request and you want to move a motion otherwise, please, so do. Let us move on. Thank you very much, Honorable Member, Mr. Figueroa.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. Follow-up. In light of the fact that parliamentary operations are guided by precedents, could the Honorable Minister indicate if the requested allocation far superseded what was allocated in 2021 budget for this constitutional agency?
Honorable Minister.
I am not au fait with that answer.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipur.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the same line item. Sir, as a parliamentarian, I engage a lot with parliament staff and so on. And I'm told, sir, that the Parliament Office requested $3 billion. I can be
Well,
wrong.
I don't, you're told I don't know the authenticity of you. Otherwise, it's just hearsay.
Sir,
Thank you very
that
much.
is why I'm asking, if I may.
You may
I
not.
notice an allocation of
If you can't bring the who so that the person could defend themselves, then I can't allow it.
Sir, well, may I rephrase my question, please?
I don't know if you're rephrasing, but could you ask a next question?
Sir, I am noticing an allocation of $1.802 billion,
Right?
and I'm guided that much more money than this was requested. May I ask
I
on
don't know
what
where the
basis?
guidance comes from. The minister has answered, but I will ask the minister once again to deal with your guidance. Minister,
Sir, I haven't completed my question.
Honorable Minister, we will give Mr. Mahipal an opportunity to complete
May I ask the
his
question?
question. Go ahead, Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have noticed an allocation of $1.802 billion, and I'm
Right.
guided, or I was told that much more money was requested. May I ask on what basis or what criteria was used to reduce the sum requested to $1.802 billion?
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal, you have been told this is hearsay. I'm very familiar with the term GIGO, G-I-G-O, and you and I can discuss what that acronym means.
Mr. Chairman, the honorable member is dealing with fantasy. The
Honorable
Parliament
Minister,
Office
I
never
didn't
asked
ask for a
$3 billion.
comment. I did a ruling.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was just scanning to see if there is another question. Honorable
No,
members,
sorry. I have other questions, but I thought you'd given the floor to the minister to.
no, honorable member, please go ahead.
Sir, you have us on this side here a bit, what should I say, sir? Amazed as a statement, sir. Quite
I have that
amazed.
effect on people.
Yes, sir, since your
Thank you.
speakers even doubly increased, sir.
What?
Sir, anyway, myself and the speaker, the chairman is speaking. Madam Chair, can you detail the work?
Mr. Speaker, can
Mr.
the
Speaker,
Honorable
Mr. Chair,
Minister-
Mr. Chair, through
Oh,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair,
Chair,
Madam. Can you disaggregate the heads of the sums of the 1.8 billion on which head, not the details, how to comply for the House to.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Good question, very pertinent to this, the line item. Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I have the information on each one of the heads that are presented on Appendix G on page 8 in the volume 2 of the budget. So if you go to that, you'll see all of that, and I have been well informed by the staff, and hopefully I can competently answer your questions.
Honorable Member, Would you want her to read out Appendix D? Okay. Honorable Member, Ms. Nina Flobest, I notice your microphone went on. Oh, no. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipo.
Sir, I notice under statutory wages and salary for the disaggregation of the lump sum, there is an increase. Am I to interpret that the staff at the Parliament office will be receiving an increase in salary for budget in the year 2021?
Honorable Minister.
This heading, sir, has to do with ministers, members of parliament. And so this has to do with the increase of 2 parliamentary secretaries that are in the 12th Parliament, and includes the salaries and allowance for the Leader of the Opposition, the personal assistant to the Speaker of the National Assembly. So under that heading, those are all of us in this room are included.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. Sir, is there any consideration for an increase in salary for the parliamentary staff, for the parliament staff?
Honorable Minister.
What are you asking under the same head, 6011, and statutory wages, or you're going to something else?
Sir, out of the lump sum that is allocated there for this constitutional agency, can the Honourable Minister say what are the benefits that are expected to go to the staff of the Parliament office?
Okay, just to get clarity for me, those are 2 questions. One, if there's an increase, and what the benefits, right? Thank you. Honorable Minister.
I believe that, sir, the increases for the staff would come under any review of salaries and would be catered for by the Ministry of Finance in the revision of those salaries, as would be handled in the public sector. So wherever that takes place, or whenever that takes place, the staff will be provided.
Is that ditto also for the allowances?
Beg your pardon? For the allowances of staff?
Yes.
Yes.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipur.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can the Honourable Minister say from this lump sum of $1.8 billion, what will the staff at Parliament expect to benefit from this lump sum?
Honorable Minister.
I don't know if that's a financial question. However, I assume that they will benefit from the basic salaries. The number of staff is 120, responsibility and duty allowance, as well as vacation and commuted allowance and national insurance. The issue of the salaries come up to 186.3, 86.3 million, and 69,325 million for the allowances, and so that totals 255,692,000 for the staff. In addition to that, of course, I understand that the Parliament from time to time gives staff small honoraria for additional work that they may do in terms of when we have budget, etc.
Sir, one last question, if I may.
Honorable Member, Mr. Michael.
Would the Honourable Minister be kind enough to give a breakdown as to what the allowances are and the amount that is associated with the allowance for our hard-working Parliament staff? I would love to know the amount, like meals allowance, if it's $1,000 or $1,500, entertainment allowance, whatever the allowances are. If we can have the amount of money that is associated to the allowance.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, the staff receive duty allowance, which is between $20,000 to $40,000. Their vacation allowance, obviously, is based on their salary that they receive. Commuted allowance relates to and includes subsistence that they may receive, and they do receive, in terms of events where they have to work long hours and overtime, such as budget. And when we have long sessions of Parliament, they would be granted additional subsistence, including refreshments and meals.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Pines.
Same line item, sorry. There's a capital expense of 65 million.
Capital?
Yeah. Sir, everything is put as one. Am I not correct, sir?
I think we have 625 capital. Page 625, the capital expenditures covered.
Okay.
So I'm putting only the current at this position.
Sir,
I remember Mr. Figueroa.
in recognition of the significant cut to the requested provisions by the Parliament, would this allocation cater for the number of parliamentary staff that is expected to be promoted on the salary scale?
Honorable Minister.
As normal, I think the Minister of Finance clarified the issue, Mr. Speaker, and that, Mr. Chairman, and that is the numbers here reflect the numbers of bodies that are on duty, not people you hope to hire or people you hope to promote. That comes subsequently with regards to other systems, such as there are members of staff in Parliament, many of them are on the fixed pension with fixed establishment, and based on those procedures, they would get promotions, and therefore the money would then be released for them to, if there's a shortfall, in release to their promotion and additional allowances, etc. But you keep talking about a massive cut. I am not aware that the Parliament had 3 billion requests, and I'm advised by Parliament Office no such request was ever made.
Could you indicate which staff advised you of that, Honorable Minister?
The accounting staff that provided the document to the Ministry of Finance.
Honorable Mr. Figueroa. Honorable Minister, you don't have to answer hecklers.
Thank you.
Honorable Member, Mr. Figueroa.
Thank you. I'm happy that the Honorable Minister has indicated that she is aware of a document that was provided. Could she state what was requested in that said document from the Parliament?
Honorable Minister.
I am advised only in response to the question I asked them, did they ask for $3 billion? And the answer is no.
Honorable Member, Mr. Figueroa.
Is it possible then, Honorable Minister, for them, the said staff, to provide you with what was requested? Because you're saying it wasn't 3, so it's probably close to 3. Can you ask them to advise you what was the figure requested by the Parliament?
Honorable Minister.
My role here today is one to defend the budget request of the constitutional bodies.
Thank you very
And
much.
therefore, I can only deal with the numbers that are before me.
Thank
I
you.
am not a magician. I cannot wave my wand and create new numbers, sir. So I am dutifully saying to you, I am answering on the numbers that are in Appendix D for this constitutional body, and all of them.
Thank you. Thank you for
very
your
much.
response, and I'm happy that you're not the
Honorable Member, Mr. Figueroa, you just don't stand up and address the Minister. You seek leave of the chair to present your request to the Minister. Please, go ahead.
Thank you for recognizing me, Honorable Chair. I'm happy that the Minister has indicated to the House that she's not a magician,
You would be worried.
but she probably is a butcher in chopping up this budget.
You have to withdraw that, Honorable Member. You have no...
I withdraw. The Honorable Minister is very skillful in saying to us that she dissect the requests of the budget for the Parliament.
Honorable Member, Mr. Figueroa, I haven't heard the Minister saying she dissected. She's here, she said, to defend the allocation.
Okay. Thank you for your clarification, Honorable Chair. In defending the allocation or the request for the Parliament, can the Honorable Minister agree with us that the request was indeed cut? And you are representing, defending what the Ministry of Finance allocated to the Parliament. You're not defending what the Parliament wanted.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, I hope you will allow me to answer extensively, as Mr. Figueroa is asking questions extensively. And that is that Budget 2020 had put $1.7 billion. If you look at the column, actual usage was 1.5 billion. The Parliament started in October, having been in abeyance for the other 9 months. And therefore, the increase to 1.8 billion in current expenditure is an increase from what was used last year. Obviously, if the Parliament Office requires a supplementary, as all constitutional bodies and all ministries, that is not a problem. And therefore, I cannot decide what was requested nor what was given. And I think I remind this House that between 2015, when the amendment bill was the Fiscal Management Accountability Bill was amended in this House in August 2015, that the Minister of Finance every single year brought to the budget the cut the constitutional bodies every single year, and with no discussion on any line items. We were not allowed, the honourable members talking about precedents and former things, we were never allowed to ask any question in regard to the lump sum request of the constitutional bodies. This is the first time it is being done, and bringing the constitutional bodies in line with the Constitution that says they are open to scrutiny and review as all bodies taking taxpayers' money.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. Could the Honorable Minister say if there are staff members in the Parliament Office that are acting in higher positions or receiving a duty allowance for performing additional functions?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
I'm advised that there's one staff who is in that category that you're speaking of, and they're receiving a responsibility allowance.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, we have 5 minutes remaining for the consideration of the Parliament Office Agency 7. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. Could the Honorable Minister say when will this position be filled, and if they have already begun the process, at what stage is it with reference to the confirmation of the position through the Public Service Commission, so that the staff can be at least assured security of tenure as opposed to filling it with a contracted employee?
Honorable Minister.
I can't answer that question, sir, because that's a personal matter, and I'm not sure what stage they are now in the personnel department with regards to the appointment.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 7, Parliament Office, Program 71, National Assembly, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. We can turn to page 625. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 7, Parliament Office, Program 71, National Assembly, Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honourable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Capital expenses 65 million. Can the honorable member disaggregate that sum?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, honorable member. The 65 million is broken down as follows. Procurement of CCTV cameras and accessories. This is to improve the security of the public buildings and would be installed in specific locations as advised by the police. $15 million. Erection of poles for security cameras, $5 million. Construction of monitoring room for security cameras, $8 million. This would be within the compound. Procurement of furniture and equipment, Office of the Speaker, $600,000 for the purchase for furniture, furnishings, etc. for the Speaker's chambers. Forte desktop computers, 10 million. This is regard to obsolete computers in various departments, ANSADS, committees, library, and registry. One server, 1.2 million. This is to deal with the storage of parliamentary information. Four all-in-one printers, 250,000 each, four of them. These are to be used by the Clerk of the National Assembly, Parliamentary Executive Officer, Executive Planning and Management Analyst, Hansard, as the printers presently being used are unserviceable. Two shredders for the Clerk's Office and the Registry, one two-door fridge, two executive chairs, air conditioning units 5. This is in regards to a number of departments in the Parliament Office. 10 audio recorders. This is for the Hansard section to facilitate the verbatim records. One laminating machine to do with, I guess, the laminating badges. Constitutional Office of the Leader of the Opposition, 19.8 million to do with capital for the honourable member of the Parliament Opposition.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I would now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 7, Parliament Office Program 71, National Assembly, capital expenditure forms part of the estimates. I now put the question. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, we will now turn to Agency 8, Audit Office, pages 130 and 131, current expenditure. We'll give the opportunity for the staff of the Audit Office to be in place. We may want to switch the two chairs that was just sanitized. Just put them over the other side.
I have to change my seat. You taking care of me?
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 8, Audit Office of Guyana, Program 81, Audit Office, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahika.
Thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask for the total number of staff present at the Audit Office, a breakdown in terms of the allowances that they are entitled to, what are the allowances, and the amount of money that is associated to each allowance.
Honorable Minister.
The staff is 210 at the Office of the Auditor General. The allowances are catered for in regards to this would be under it would be in the section to do with employment costs. We're just trying to get that information. I'm sorry for the delay.
Honorable Member, Mr. Maipol, you had a follow-up? No?
Pardon me, sir?
I'm just trying to.
Sorry, Minister.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get the information that you requested.
Sir, if I may, in the interest of
Just give me
time,
1 minute. We're almost
Just give
finished.
her an opportunity to get the information. I'm watching the clock and I'm making notes. Honorable Minister.
Yeah, the vacation allowance, they're entitled to vacation allowance as well as entertainment allowance, which is 5,000, and they get acting allowances as well in the case of where they're acting. So the entertainment allowance is about 5,000. The traveling would be specific to, I guess, the rank or the level of the staff, and the vacation, of course, is related to the salary.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
are there any other allowances that are given to the staff at the audit officer?
Honorable Minister.
The only person who would have other allowances and other than what I described would be the Auditor General himself, as far as I know.
Honorable.
Yeah, the other allowances that you asked about, vacation allowances 41 million, motor car and bicycle allowances are 3.4 million, entertainment allowance 1.8 million, uniform allowance 26 million, employer's contribution to pension scheme 35 million. So that would be under benefits and allowances listed on the appendix T.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Sir, is meals allowance given to the staff at the audit office?
I'm advised no, sir.
I didn't hear that, sir.
I'm advised the answer is no.
So
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
thank you, sir. So meals allowance, there's no meals allowance for the staff at the audit office. Thank you for that clarity, Honorable Minister. Sir, if I may ask, are there staff at the audit office that are performing the duties of a higher office, receiving a duty allowance? Or are there staff that are acting in a higher position? And if there are, what measure is the audit office taking to fill the vacancies through the Public Service Commission?
I don't know, just a clarification. I think the audit office hires their own staff. I don't think.
Oh, yes.
But
Yes, sir, you're correct. My apologies. The audit office, I think the Auditor General has the authority to employ his own staff. So what measure is being taken by the Auditor General to fill the vacancies that currently exist? And the vacancies that do exist, what is the salary and the entire remuneration package that is assigned to those vacant offices?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. That's quite a bit. I'm sure the Honorable Minister will have to get some guidance.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, there are 16 vacancies at the senior level, and the honourable member may not know or may know that it's the Public Accounts Committee that approves the filling of these posts in accordance with the law and the rules and regulations of the Audit Office. So there are persons, there are vacancies, and there are also persons acting up. But they cannot be filled until the Public Accounts Committee goes through the review of the recommendations of the Audit Office.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I am reliably informed that the Audit Office requested a budget higher than this. Can the Honorable Minister say which areas were cut and why?
Before I put the question to the Minister, again, I will ask, reliably informed. If you can state the reliability of your informant, I will have to take that as hearsay and not
No,
put
sir, it's not hearsay, sir. There's none other than the Auditor General reliably informed us.
the Honorable Auditor, the Honorable Member, you're saying the Auditor General himself. Honorable Minister?
I repeat what I said earlier, sir. I'm not here. I'm here to defend the Auditor General's office and the numbers in the budget documents, Appendix T. I have no involvement in the process prior to, and therefore the issue is that I am here to defend the numbers that are here before the parliamentarians. In 2020, the Audit Office was cut in 2019. It had 731 million. It was approved by the House, but it had requested more in 2019. In 2020, it requested 906. It was given that, but it used 890 million. It now has, and this is all current numbers, it now has 1,016,347. This is what is before the House for its current budget. So there has been an increase between 2019, 2018, and 2018, 19, and 20.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Matthew.
Sir, thank you. Sir, this is the Audit Office of Guyana estimates of current and capital expenditure 2021. I trust you're seeing the 2021.
You're saying it's the estimates?
The request, sir.
Okay.
The request that was submitted. And I am fortunate to have a copy by virtue of being an astute member of the Public Accounts Committee. Sir, and based on what I'm seeing here for the total appropriation expenditure to be voted, which was based on their request, is 1,056,566,000. And I'm seeing, sir, that there is a reduction in terms of what is being printed in the volume 1, that is before this Honorable House. May I ask, why is there a decrease from what was requested by the Audit Office?
Again, I think, Honorable Minister, before I put the question, you may have answered the issue of you're here to defend the process and the numbers before you. Honorable Minister?
Yes, thank you, sir. As the honourable member will remember that the chairman or whoever kept asterisking the request of the Auditor General, and I assume that it would have been approved by the Public Accounts Committee had it been discussed. But the difference in figures, sir, you're correct that there's a $40 million difference in the request in current and 32 million with regards to capital request. So the difference is $72 million approximately with regards to what they requested and what they have. So I can answer that because that, you're correct, went before the PAC, but it never discussed the Auditor General's report. It was asterisk from the time the PAC started meeting in last year, early this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. Sir, for clarity, let me assure you that this side of the House, the 4 members that sit on the PAC, are prepared to support the request that the Audit Office made. What they submitted to the PAC, we are prepared to endorse that amount and no less than that. Sir, if I may ask...
Honorable Member, with respect to your comments, I can just tell you what I normally hear here. This cabinet has signified. So I think you may have to activate the process of your support for a request elsewhere, right? Could you ask the question?
Sir, in terms of rates and taxes, how much money will the Audit Office be paying to the Georgetown Mayor and City Council in rates and taxes for the year 2021? And is this an updated amount that they will be paying, or is it an accumulation of previous years?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
The figure of rates and taxes is 700,000 that is being paid to the Mayor and City Council as regards the Auditor General's office in Georgetown.
And the Honorable Member did ask, is this reflective of current or arrears or current and arrears?
No, current, sir.
Current. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. Sir, in light of the recent ruling by the Chief Justice, where the valuation officer has to revalue properties, and where the valuation officer has to revalue properties to get the real value of the properties, would the Honorable Minister agree that that is not the accurate figure to be paid to City Hall, and when will the revaluation of the property be done so that the accurate figure can be paid to the Mayor and City Council?
Well, there are a lot of suppositions there. I may have to revert to Geigo plenty during this estimate. Honorable Minister, you may want to respond.
Yes, I'm delighted to respond because the valuation of property is not done by the Auditor General's office. It's done by the local authorities, in this case, Georgetown City Council. And so until that is done, the agency cannot pay anything other than what is the present rate. So we can't deal with suppositions and possibilities. When it happens and if it happens that there is an increase by City Council, then the Auditor General's office will accommodate that in the budget. There's no other way to handle it.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipol.
Sir, I accept and agree that it is the function of more specifically the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development to facilitate the valuation, the revaluation of properties. But in the interest of being good citizens, in the interest of being transparent, democratic, and all the fanciful words that are used to describe good governance, would the Auditor General endeavor to write the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development requesting that its property be revaluated so that the rightful amount of money can be collected?
I just want to make a comment. This is the first time I will hear a payee writing to pay more. Honorable Minister.
I'm not quite sure how to answer that, in the sense that I know most people don't like to pay their rates and taxes, and if I were to take a survey in this room, I'm sure quite a number of people owe rates and taxes to the Georgetown City Council. However, and if we were probably to do a quick vote in this House, how many people want the taxes to be increased for your rates and taxes, I will put my bottom dollar that 9 out of 10 of you will say no. So, I mean, but Mrs. Chairman, I'm being facetious, but at the same time, it's a facetious question. And so, we will deal with the reality when it happens, whenever it happens. I mean, there's nothing more that we can do. If there's an increase, the Auditor General will make sure this agency deals with it. But I believe that the issue of increasing rates and taxes is not a popular one in any part of the country.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Just a caution to the Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal. Social media is saying, because of your height, you may need to bend to the microphone. They're not hearing your presentation on social media. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was trying to get up here. The Honorable Minister acknowledged that 40 million was deducted from the current reduced cut. And I asked a question, my first question is, where was the items cut from? I never got a response. I'm glad, Mr. Chair, you can actually direct the request the Honorable Minister to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
The 32 million comes from the capital with regards to computers and printers and other such equipment. And the current, well, I'm giving it one at a time. There are two things they were cut from, sir.
Honorable Minister, you don't have to take on the honorable members.
Thank you very much.
But Mr. Chair, just for
because I'm going to do this
clarification.
15
Honorable
times
member,
today.
please.
But
Go
Mr.
ahead,
Chair,
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chair?
You have to stand on a point of order, sir.
No, not a point of order. I'm trying to help the Honorable.
You have to stand. I wouldn't ask and interrupt, but this current speaker on the floor, except. Honorable Minister, go ahead.
I have the
She was just about to go to current.
I was about to go to current. The total is 72 million, 32 million capital and 40 million current, right? Under the capital, it is
We can deal with the
computers and
capital
printers.
shortly.
Under current, it has to do with a cut in employment costs regarding acting allowances and filling of vacancies.
Thank you. Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson. Follow-up, is the Honorable Minister saying that the cuts for the current vacancies, you reduced your requirement of vacant positions. That is why the government saw fit to cut it. I mean, the Honorable Minister said it was 16. The 16 said, Mr. Chair. Yes, no, I'm just trying to make sure for you always seem to supposition. So 16 vacancies were available. So to say now they reduced that, is that helpful to the Audit Office?
Honorable Minister.
I want to remind the honorable member that this is a lump sum. So that if there is, in the case of the Auditor General wanting to fill a vacancy, once it's approved by the Public Accounts Committee, if there's senior people, that he can move money around from different heads, because the exercise we're going through here is not one, he will receive the money in a lump sum. He's not going to receive it in terms of so much for each head. So that this allows some flexibility for all the constitutional bodies, where they may come across sometimes where there are what you call variations or areas where they haven't anticipated. Of course, if the Public Accounts Committee fills or recommends to the National Assembly that all 16 vacancies and here the recommended persons are filled, then the finance would then have to release additional money were the Auditor Office unable to provide the funds to pay those new people.
So, Honorable Minister, that might be catered for in the Ministry of Finance revision of wages and salaries.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to say what is the total allocation in this lump sum for total employment costs? I hear her when she said $40 million was cut from it. May I ask what is the total allocation in this budget for employment costs?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, it's in the Appendix T, page 809. The employment cost is 817,842,000.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I heard the Honorable Member saying 817 million. Sir, the request that was made, and I do have the budget here as I indicated earlier, the Audit Office budget. The request that was made is 887,680,000. And when I minus that, when I minus 817 million from that, I get $70 million. So could the Honorable Minister clarify if it is indeed $40 million that was cut from total employment costs?
Honorable Minister.
I am still advised that it's 40 million regarding current, and that there was therefore reallocation within the heads by the agency. So although you're doing a mathematical there, they're saying that this figure of 40 million of the reduction is correct and not the figure you are mathematically putting to the House.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Agency 8, Audit Office of Guyana, Program 81, Audit Office, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum now stands part of the estimates. We can now turn to page 626. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 8, Audit Office of Guyana, Program 81, Audit Office Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Similar question as my last question. Mr. Chair, can the Honorable Member say what was cut from the capital budget submission from the Audit Office, the 32 million?
Honorable Minister.
I'm advised that scanners, desktop computers and laptops were cut from the budget in order to, and one figure of 14 million for a vehicle. There were two vehicles that were, one vehicle was requested. And so it was cut from 14 million to 6.5 million for a minibus.
Honorable Member, Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Chair, I was hoping just to get a even simple answer so we could close the head, but the previous request was a billion, 10 million, of equipment and furniture, 28.4 million, and land transportation, $14 million. 32 million has been cut. You now have 20 million. Am I correct, Madam? So therefore, obviously, what I'm asking is where the 32 is cut from, because if there was a request for one minibus only.
Someone's phone.
Pardon, sir?
Someone's phone is disturbing the house.
I think someone's bringing Madam Chair that I want to say. So.
Oh, okay. Very observant, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister. Microphone, please. Again. Microphone.
Sorry, the items that were changed, they had put in 10 million for buildings, it was reduced to 5 million. They put in for a vehicle at 14 million, and they reduced it internally to 6.9 million. They had 28 million for office equipment, etc., and that was, they have put it forward here as 8 million. So I believe when you add up all that, you then get the figure that is the difference.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, this is a good time to put the question that the sum stated for Agency 8, Audit Office of Guyana, Program 81 Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. That concludes our consideration of Agency 8, the Audit Office of Guyana, and puts us at 12:15 p.m. exactly 1 hour, half an hour for consideration. Let me thank the Honorable Minister and the staff of the Audit Office for taking us through this agency, and also I didn't express our appreciation to the staff of the Parliamentary Office for working with the Minister for taking us through the consideration of Agency 7. Thank you very, very much, Auditor General and Minister. Honorable members, we shall resume. Honorable members, this is a good time to take the suspension for lunch, and we should be back here at 1:15.